Events soon to transpire on this planet will dry up the options for the lukewarm. Do not look too deeply into the eyes of the pleasure seekers about you, for if you do, you will see a certain sadness in sensuality, and you will hear artificiality in the laughter of licentiousness. Do not look too deeply either into the motives of those who deny God, for you may notice their doubts of doubt. Do not risk thinking the unthinkable, lest you find yourself drawn with a deep and powerful pull toward the reality that God does exist, that He loves you, and that there is finally no escaping Him or His love. Do not think too much about what you are teaching your family, for what in you is merely casualness about Christianity may in your children become hostility. For what you have not defended, your children may reject angrily. Do not reflect on the practicality of gospel standards either, standards such as abstaining from alcohol, for if you do, a surf of statistics will wash over you, confirming that abstinence is ultimately the only cure for alcoholism. You will also see that the living of one protective principle of the gospel is better than 1,000 compensatory governmental programs, which programs are so often like straightening deck chairs on the Titanic. Do not think too much either about doctrines such as the importance of love at home, because if you think about them very long, in a world filled with orphans with parents, you will be grasped by a reality that will make your teeth chatter. Do not think either about the doctrine that you are a child of God, for if you do, it will be the beginning of belonging. Do not dare to read the Book of Mormon seriously, or you may suddenly realize that it is inlaid with incredibly important insights from a millennium of sacred history. Do not pray, for you'll get answers from a listening and loving Father. Do not let yourself reflect too much on the social, political, and economic indicators that suggest the gathering storm, lest you realize that there is an inseparable connection between the keeping of the commandments and the well-being of society. Do not read what the holiest inhabitant ever to live on this planet said about the necessity of certain ordinances, or you will see that he allowed no exceptions, including himself. Joshua didn't say, "Choose you next year whom you will serve." He spoke of this day, while there is still daylight and before the darkness becomes more and more normal. When Jesus called his first disciples, the scriptures record that they left their ships and their nets straightway. They didn't ask to join Jesus after the fishing season. They didn't even delay their response in order to make just one more catch. They left straightway. Act, my brothers and sisters, for once the soul is tilted toward belief, and once there is even a desire to believe, then marvelous things begin to happen. Act now, so that 1,000 years hence, when you look back at this moment, you can say that this was a moment that mattered. This was a day of determination. All of us must know that feeling which is associated with a broken heart and a contrite spirit, by which we are cleansed by the hot, holy fire of a special shame, so that we might thereafter have a more pure love and a greater capacity to serve both God and man. Hearts set so much upon the things of this world, our hearts so set, they must first be broken. Indeed, one of the most cruel games anyone can play with himself is the not yet game, hoping to sin just a bit more before ceasing, to enjoy the praise of the world a little longer before turning away from the applause, to win just once more in the wearying sweepstakes of materialism, to be chaste, but not yet, to be good neighbors, but not now. The truth is that not yet usually means never. Trying to run away from the responsibility to decide about Christ is childish. And if you sense that one day every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord, why not do so now? For in the coming of that collective confession, It will mean much less to kneel down when it is no longer possible to stand up.